So Lily James has gone from Cinderella to an ass-kicking zombie fighter. Yeah, I'll watch her in more stuff, thank you. Hello once again, watchers of good movies. My name is Nick Pell, and this is once again coming from my apartment. Now today we're going to be talking about the film Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. So this film is based on the parody novel which was written a couple years ago, I believe, and it basically takes the story of Pride and Prejudice and puts zombies into the story and kind of morphs the story to still tell the Pride and Prejudice story, but just has this zombie fighting element to it. I will say from the start, I have not read Pride and Prejudice. I know very, very little about the plot of this book and thus movie. So, from what I got out of the movie, Lily James, she plays this woman named Elizabeth Bennet. She is one of, I think, 5 sisters who are all trained in the art of war. And it's kind of a cool setup for this film because essentially the zombie outbreak occurs and Europe is essentially contained into London, I guess, because we don't see any of the outside world outside of this small secluded area. And these women, they go out to train in China or Japan to learn martial arts and the ways to defend themselves in the art of war. And so they're badass fighters as well as very attractive young women. Elizabeth Bennet is the oldest of this group, and she is the most badass, I'd agree, because she is the main character, and so she should be. Eventually, upon a party, she comes across Mr. Darcy, played by Sam Riley, and they have an interesting relationship for the majority of the film, because Darcy, he has this very cold demeanor to him. It's very emotionless, and he seems to be very business all the time. And you eventually find out why this is because of the backstory, which you see revealed. And it's kind of an interesting way that their relationship forms and morphs throughout the course of the film. That was one of the things which I really did enjoy about the film, is seeing these two characters interact, because from what little I know about this film, I was under the assumption that they were supposed to get together at some point and be these famous lovers of some sort. And so, having that idea in the back of my mind, I was I enjoyed seeing their relationship, because it wasn't just like head over heels right away. It's like, oh, lovey-dovey crap. No, they have their arguments, they have their disagreements, and they basically hate each other from the beginning, and just kind of see it morph into what it eventually is by the end of the film. And I like that aspect of the film. The zombie fighting as well was really, really neat for when it was in the film. This film focuses so much on making sure to tell the Pride and Prejudice story, to get these points laid out, as far as I could tell, that it seemed to drift away from the main thing that I think audiences are going to go to this film to see, which is the zombie fighting. We want to see people in this time period, in the 1800s essentially, trying to take down the zombie army, and these badass women doing it in this Avengers-esque 5-person trio. And while it does have aspects of that in it, it's just not really enough. And like I said, it focuses too much on trying to tell the story within this world instead of just taking the bits that are really necessary and putting them into this zombie world and telling the story in that way. I think that's what audiences wanted. It's not necessarily what they get. Matt Smith is in this film, and he does he reminded me more of his 11th Doctor from Doctor Who than anything else that I've seen him in since he ended his role on that show. It was hysterical to see him act in this film, because he's this lovable goofball, and his mannerisms, his reactions, just things that he did at certain points in the film. It's just like, that's the 11th Doctor. He is in this time period for some reason, and he's doing something, and it was just a delight for me to go and see that, because it's like, oh, Matt Smith, you're fantastic. Another big person who is in this film is Lena Headey. You know her as Cersei Lannister from Game of Thrones. She is very underused in this film. They set her up as this badass swordswoman who is supposed to be the most fierce warrior in all the land, and they don't really show her do a lot, except for like a 5-second scene where they show her conquering a bunch of zombies. And she just kind of sits around and intimidates people for the good chunk of the film. And I was really disappointed, because I really would have liked to see her and Lily James and maybe Darcy just team up in this trio to take down this huge zombie horde, because that would have been really, really cool to see. And she really doesn't do a lot in the film, and it disappointed me. I will say this about the film though, it did make me kind of want to read the original story, just to see how much of this film is actually true to the source material and how much of it was morphed in regards to the source material to kind of keep it within the zombie world. How much of it was changed and how much of these actual things did happen, include in regards to certain characters' backstories, and how much of it is different. The film also ends on a fine note. It's a very interesting thing. There's kind of a false twist at the end, which kind of bugged me in regards to a certain character. The ending itself, it was fine. It fits with more of the Pride and Prejudice focus that the film has. But there is a scene about a minute into the credits, which I'd say is worth staying for because it kind of sets up a potential sequel. I kind of doubt that we'll get one, but it was kind of a cool thing to see. I would have liked to see the film kind of end with that thing, like spend an extra 10 minutes doing this big thing that sets up at the end and then conclude the story. I don't know. It just seemed like it could have done a little bit more to make the ending itself a bit more interesting, for me at least. But guys, those are my thoughts on Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. I did enjoy the film. I just had some issues with it. So it's a good film, just not great. But those are my thoughts on Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Did you like the film as much as I did? Did you hate it more than I did? Let me know. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe once again if you choose to appreciate immensely. As always, my people, my name is Nick Pell, and once again, keep on watching.